Glad to be here today. I'm Michael Alexander. I serve as the Associate Dean for Academic Affairs in the School of Music. And I also am a cellist, and I work with all of the music education majors as well as all the majors in the School of Music in my role as Associate Dean. I also want to introduce Mary Sage, who is our guru of freshman admissions. She functions as our freshman admissions officer for the School of Music. And should you apply to Baylor and to the School of Music, you will be hearing a lot from Mary, because she'll get you all your auditions set up and your scholarship applications set up and all those types of things. She is our go-to person. And if you don't know Mary now and you end up coming to Baylor, you will, by the first week of school, know her very well, because she will help you at every step of the way. Let's go ahead. I do want to say one thing. If you should have a question today, this morning, would you post it in the chat? And Mary is going to moderate that, and she'll go over your questions at the end with us and jump in there. So thank you, Mary, for doing that. So welcome to Baylor. We're all here virtually. Some of us are here live, and it's an exciting day at Baylor. We have our game against Oklahoma State today, and both the teams are undefeated. So it'll be a really good game in the Big 12. Kind of surprising for both of the schools that we're undefeated at this point this year, but it's a very exciting time to be at Baylor. So here's a couple of questions that came up. Why I love teaching at Baylor? Well, there's three reasons. Number one, I love the colleagues I get to teach with. They're good people, they're hardworking, they're very intelligent, and each one of them is a specialist in their field. It's an exciting place to be when you're dealing with world-class people and researchers and performers and musicians. And I just love being in that atmosphere. The second reason is I love my students. I mean, I have outstanding students from across the nation, all coming to the School of Music to study music. And whether you're a music major or an engineering or science or physics major, you'll have music opportunities at Baylor. And one of the things I've enjoyed for many years is working for conducting the campus orchestra, which is comprised this semester entirely of non-music majors that all play very, very well. So we'll have a place for you here at Baylor should you come here. And that's kind of the second reason I like teaching at Baylor. And the final reason is I love the atmosphere. It's a atmosphere where there's a lot of research going on. There's a lot of performing going on, great teaching going on. Every time I walk down through the music building, I hear people practicing this concerto, that concerto, working on this excerpt for their auditions. And it's just an exciting place to be. So what's my area of research or my research interest? I'm a string researcher, so I'm very interested in classroom pedagogy. Those of you who are involved in bands, choirs, and orchestras in your own schools, I like doing research about what makes those better, what makes the teaching better in those situations. Especially an interest point is string pedagogy and intonation research. How to teach intonation, how to make intonation better, and how to refine it, both with individuals and in ensembles. What do I love most about living in Waco? I really like the fact that there's no rush hour in Waco. I mean, it's like a rush 15 minutes, maybe. I leave my office and I might have to wait through one stoplight. And I live, gosh, 18 miles from the university, and it's a quick drive home. So if you live in the big city, either in Texas or California or New York or Georgia or Florida, wherever you may be coming from, Chicago, you're used to being in rush hour all the time. And that just doesn't happen in Waco. So you can get very quickly to wherever you need to be in a very short amount of time here in Waco. And that really is one of the best things. I love the fact that when I came here, our university president said, if you go, we have, gosh, I can't tell you how many different churches we have in Waco and how many different faiths and religions are represented here. everything from synagogues to mosques to Lutheran, Presbyterian, Baptist, Catholic. I mean, you can go down the line, Episcopalian. And the president said to the student body, if you go to a different church every Sunday for 4 years while you're in Waco, you won't get to all of them. And it just amazed me that it's that kind of community. It's a very warm, loving place. I've got two recommendations for local restaurants if you come for a campus visit or something, because I'm obviously food plays a very important role in my life. There is a place called Vitex, which is just maybe about 4 blocks from Baylor. And they have a thing called the Gut Pack, which is like a glorified Frito pie. It was named the best game food in America by the NCAA about 5 years ago. And there's a thing called the Gut Pack Run that's done by the Baylor students once a year, where you start on campus, you run to Vitex, you eat a gut pack, which is, Fritos and brisket and chili and cheese and all sorts of different, onions and jalapenos and stuff. And you eat that. And then if you make it back to campus without throwing up, then you win, because it's a huge meal. Anyway, sorry, that's probably a little bit more graphic than you were expecting. My other favorite place is George's, which has the best fried chicken in Texas. I'm sure of it. And it's also very close to campus. One of those two places you ought to stop in, because they've both been in Waco for 50 years and they're both Waco traditions. And anyway, you can't come to Waco without going to either Vitex or George's. So let's go move on. Let me talk to you about the School of Music. We have about 375 music majors. Approximately 300 of them are undergraduates and 75 of them are graduate students. I will tell you also, we have about 800 more students involved in the School of Music who may not be music majors. So you'll see we have a large number of ensembles that you can choose from, whether you're a music major or not. Our top ensembles are primarily filled with music majors, but we do have non-music majors enrolled in some of those as well. And it's all done by audition. I would encourage you, as you're coming in as incoming freshmen, I think most of y'all, I don't know if any of you would be transfers, but if you're coming in as incoming freshmen, I would encourage you to look at universities where the undergraduate program is emphasized. And here at Baylor and in the School of Music, we do have a very vital graduate population, but there's 75 of them and there's 300 undergraduates, which means you're going to be competing with primarily people your own age for those first chair positions or for the solos in whatever ensemble you're in. There are other places you could go to school that might have 50% of the students are graduate students, which may mean they're up to almost 30 years in age and some of them older than that. And as an 18-year-old coming into university, I don't think you want to be competing with people, more than 10 years older than you for those positions. So just my advice, look at, as an incoming freshman, look at a place where the undergraduates, the freshmen, sophomore, juniors, or seniors, are emphasized in the curriculum. And as long as there is also a healthy graduate program, and I think we have the perfect balance here at Baylor. We have 65 full-time faculty members in the School of Music and up to 20 supplemental professional adjuncts, which means you get one-on-one instruction in your applied lessons, and we have a very low faculty to student ratio. I think it's less than 1 to 10. We are large enough to offer a comprehensive program in virtually all areas of music, yet small enough to devote individual attention to each student. And then our 2 certification programs are the 2 standards for both the state and the nation, the NASM and the TAMS, the Texas Association of Music Schools. Okay, Mary. We have a number of different degrees. The Bachelor of Music and the Bachelor of Music Education are initiated and run by the School of Music. We also have a Bachelor of Arts in Music, which is run by the College of Arts and Sciences, but all of the programs in music are run through the School of Music. So if you're interested in doing maybe exploring the honors college or a BA and still having an emphasis in another area, the Bachelor of Arts is a great way to dabble in the music school and participate in ensembles and lessons in music theory, etc., as well as, but doing it at a higher level than a music minor would be, for instance. Go ahead, Mary. We've started about 8 years ago a secondary major in instrumental or keyboard performance for advanced players who may be pursuing another academic path. And I know on the string side of things, since that's one area I have a lot of interest in, we have, I think, 5 or 6 engineering majors who are doing a secondary major in music. And I think that's a great way for those of you who are not interested in majoring in music to have an area that you can pursue and still get a very substantial participation in the music area as a secondary major. There are a few things that are different than being a music major as far as requirements. I think there's only 2 years of music theory required versus 5 for a music major. And so you have some different choices, but it's much more than a minor, but not quite a major. So if you're looking to double major, this is what we offer. So because you can't pursue 2 degrees at the same time, so if you're doing a BS in science, you can't, at Baylor, you can't also pursue a BM in the School of Music. So we do a secondary major to pursue that. If you have any questions about that, post it in the chat and we can talk about it at the end. Mary? We also have an academic minor in music, and we have a good number of students throughout the university who pursue the academic minor in music. It's listed in our course catalog. It's about 21 semesters of hours in music, and it's trying to provide an atmosphere and experience. Most of the minors also participate in our ensemble, so they want to perform, and the minors would of course be in line ahead of non-music majors for any room in the private studios as well. So it's kind of like the majors get the priority, then the secondary majors, then the minors, then people that are not majoring on anything or minoring on anything in the School of Music as far as priority for getting private instruction. But we do have a large number of students that are taking private lessons through our programs that may or may not be pursuing a major or minor in music in the School of Music. So I said a while ago, we have a lot of performing opportunities. If you'll look at the top of each one of these lists is what we might call our premier organization in these categories. Although, to be real honest, the second and all these groups are very good. But if I said which ones would be primarily filled with music majors, it would be the wind ensemble on the band side, the a cappella choir, the Baylor Symphony Orchestra, and the Baylor Jazz Ensemble. The symphonic band, and also the chamber singers are going to be almost entirely music majors as well. The concert choir, the symphonic band, the campus orchestra, and the concert jazz may have music minors or non-music majors in it as well. You can see we have a lot of opportunity. For example, the Golden Wave Marching Band, which is our marching band, they're getting ready to perform today. We have over 300 members in the marching band, and only about a quarter of those are music majors. The other 3/4 of the marching band are people majoring in something other than music. And so we really encourage you to continue participation. And just an aside about the marching band, if you march already in high school, you may be rehearsing, I don't know, in Texas it's supposed to be 8 hours a week, but I don't know if that really happens. I think most marching bands rehearse 12 or 15. So Baylor, it's a class. So it has to start on time and it has to end on time because people have classes later in the evening. It goes from 4 to 6 and they only rehearse Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And those of you who are in very, very competitive high school bands that may go to some competition every weekend, well, we march at our home games and we do an exhibition at state marching contest every other year. And we travel to the teams that we play within the state of Texas. I think we travel to Oklahoma as well, but we don't go to West Virginia and we don't go to Iowa State, other football teams in our conference, because it's just too far to take a whole band for a weekend and come back. So you'll find about every other weekend with the Baylor marching band, you have the weekend off because we don't do a lot of the away games. And that's a real change from being in high school where you probably marched every single weekend and sometimes did 2 competitive events on a weekend. So I think you'll find that the marching band is, number one, very accessible. It performs at a very high level because everyone's marched for 4 years in high school when they got there. So our freshmen are very different than freshmen in high school because they've all marched. Anyway, I just think I want to put in a plug for the Golden Wave Marching Band because it is historically an icon at the university. And if you enjoy your marching band, you'll have a lot of fun with the Golden Wave. They have a great time. And like I said, most of the people in it are not music majors. So there's lots of opportunity for leadership roles and for things like that as well. All the ensembles are great. I could go on and on and on about the quality. I would invite you to look at our live stream webpage on the School of Music website. You can click on any of the things that have been archived. If you're a singer and want to listen to the choirs, you can listen to archived concerts there. Same with the bands, same with the orchestras. You can go back and listen to some of our performances over the last year or so. If you are at TMEA, the Texas Music Educators Association, 2 years ago, you would have seen all our bands, choirs, and orchestras all performing there. I think we're one of the only universities that's ever had all 3 of their ensembles there in the same year. So I hope you did get to see some of them if you were an all-stater or if you happened to be in San Antonio a few years ago. It was a pretty amazing event. Okay, Mary? We have some great solo opportunities within the School of Music. We have our Semper Pro Musica solo chamber and orchestra competition. It's held here at Baylor. It's only with Baylor students. And the kind of the golden apple is the end is a concert in the Viola Recital Hall in Carnegie Hall in New York. The soloist and the chamber group and the organist are all selected, all bills paid, sent to New York for a concert. And you can bring your parents, you can bring your family. It's just a fabulous event. It's held in May, right after school finishes. So you're not missing class to go do it. And it's a great honor to be chosen for this. Very highly competitive, but gives you a chance to play solo in Carnegie Hall, New York. So I think Baylor is the only university I know that does this. Let's go on. When we bring people into campus, they're in 2 forms. We have the Distinguished Artist Series, which brings great performers from all over the world to Baylor. I mean, we've listed here some great groups. As a cellist, I know Lynn Harrell. I know we've also had Yo-Yo Ma. If there are any singers there, I know you'll recognize the phenomenal group Chanticleer. It's a fantastic men's choral organization that's come in to perform. And then other pianists, saxophone players, trombone players that are listed here, just fabulous musicians. And they come and give concerts for us. And then the Lyceum series is an educational foundation where we bring in people to give recitals, but also to work in master classes with our students. So you'll have an opportunity to work with master performers and master teachers through the master class situation at Baylor. Okay, let's go on. Okay, so I'm going to actually, Mary, do you want to talk about Bear Shadow?
Yeah, absolutely. So we love giving our prospective music majors the opportunity to observe music classes. So they have a basic understanding of what it's like to be a music major. That includes the academic sides, music theory, music history, but also collegiate ensemble observation and meeting the professor that teaches their instrument. So we have an event, it's really like a shadow day, sit-in class day called Bear Shadow. We do have one this fall on Monday, November 15th. It is free. You can register on our website if you're interested and check out some of our classes.
Are there any questions from the chat that we need to talk about?
Yes, so we did have a question. Is it possible to major in BA psychology and also have a secondary major in music? The secondary major concept is a little confusing, so we were just wondering if we could combine those two things.
Yes, you can definitely do that. The secondary major is the link that will work with all other majors on campus. So, and virtually every department has a secondary major in some form or fashion in the entire university. So the School of Music has one in music. Engineering will have one in engineering. So you can make your choice about what you want to major in and what you want to do a secondary major in. Okay, this is my contact information, Michael L. Yes, they put my middle initial in my email. I didn't do it. Baylor did. Thank you, Baylor. And then music admin at Baylor is Mary's official email if you need to contact her, and then her phone number on campus there. And then check out the website at baylor.edu.music.